Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to come on here and do a Q&A. Mostly what I wanted to do is play with the equipment that I got, make sure it's working consistently. I'm using DroidCam for a webcam. So basically what I did is I downloaded the DroidCam client on my computer and I downloaded the app on my phone, and so that causes it to connect. And so um, basically, I've got it set up so that I can use my phone as a webcam, and that was a mess this morning. So I'm glad I decided to play with it and make sure it stays working consistently. That way, the next time I do a podcast, I'm not having to scramble. I know what to expect. Um, Looks like two of you guys are tuning in. Um, Clayton said, "When are you getting a ha?" I when am I getting a ha? I guess getting a haircut. When are you getting a haircut, you hippie? Um, I don't know. So I have an uncle, and every time he sees me, he says, "Man, you need a haircut and a shave." Well, haircut's probably doable. I'll probably get a haircut before too long. Shave, I don't know about. Every time I have talked to my wife about shaving my beard, she says no. She says that the beard is her friend and the beard has to stay. So I'm probably never going to shave, but a haircut's more doable. Um, I don't know if I'm going to even cut my hair because for a long time I wanted long hair so that I could do a ponytail. But what I didn't take into account is that I'm balding right up here. So basically, the way it works is when I've got my hair back, I look when I've got my hair back and I've got my teeth in, I look like a fairly professional human being. Um, but whenever I've got my hair down and my teeth out, I look like a meth head. So Clayton said, "Long hair, no teeth reminds me of my cousins." Yeah, pretty much. Um, but yeah, I wanted to come on here, do a Q&A, and make sure that my equipment's working for the next time I do a podcast. Um, I, I'm going to. I've talked to Josh Summer recently. He's agreed to come on the podcast at some point. I just need to line up a date for him. Also, speaking of Clayton, I'm going to have Clayton on the podcast at some point so that he can advertise the pastors' conference that's coming up in West Memphis at David Young's church, Grace Baptist Church, West Memphis. That's going to be a fun time. Um, and so, yeah, that's mostly what I wanted to do on here. Also, if you're watching, I'll go ahead and advertise my own podcast. Tune into the Monday Morning Megaphone on, I would say, I was about to say every Monday, but that's not true. Most Mondays is probably not even an accurate statement. Tune into the Monday Morning Megaphone on some Mondays. That's about as good as it's going to get right now. Um, so yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm paying $25 a month for a premium StreamYard account, so I'm going to get my money's worth out of that. So expect these Q&As at least once a week. Um, expect these Q&As maybe, I don't know, perhaps twice a week, just so that I can get my money's worth out of my StreamYard account. Uh, I'm also going to have guests on here sometimes, but I want to be able to come on here and answer your questions and talk about various things. I mean, I guess I could multitask while I'm doing this. I'm should be getting ready for Bible study tonight. Um, we've been going over the book of First Corinthians in at Mars Hill Cumberland Presbyterian Church. We've been doing that on Tuesday nights, and the discussions that have come out of it have been really interesting. They've been really good. Last week we talked about the very end of First Corinthians 4 and about how Paul said that uh, you know there are these people who are talking about him and who are talking about various leaders, and what he wanted to see out of them was not just talk but power. And so we talked about what Paul means by power throughout the first few chapters of First Corinthians, because he mentions that in First Corinthians 1 that the message of the cross is power to those who are being saved. Then he says that in 1 Corinthians 2, uh, that he didn't come with enticing words of man's wisdom, but with the demonstration of the Spirit's power. Um, and so we really got into what Paul means by by the Spirit's power, and how he wants to see that in the manifestation of the church. So, but we're going to talk about that more probably a little bit tonight. Um, but we're mostly going to get into 1 Corinthians 5, where Paul has to deal with this man who is sleeping with his stepmother. Ew, gross, right? So we're going to be talking about how Paul wants the church to deal with that situation. We're going to be talking about what it means to have someone in your congregation who's living in open rebellious sin, um, and so all that fun stuff. So we don't live stream the Bible studies at church. So if you want to participate in that discussion, you're going to have to come see us at Mars Hill Cumberland Presbyterian Church up on Crow Mountain. It's at 7271 Crow Mountain Road in Pottsville. Bible study is at 6:30. So just come and join us for that. We would love to have you. We'll save you a seat. Uh, but yeah, I'm supposed to be getting ready for Bible study tonight. Man, I've had a. Let me just confess something while I'm waiting on questions to come in. Uh, I have had a rough couple days, man. Sunday, I preached, and I didn't do so hot in the pulpit, I don't think. I mean, people came up to me and they could tell I was discouraged by it, and so they tried to encourage me, which is good. I'm glad I have a church that does that. Um, but I didn't feel very good about it, and I think what it was is I told a joke, and it wasn't necessarily an inappropriate joke, I don't think, but it was just one of those jokes that didn't land. Like no one thought it was funny, and so I guess that really shifted my mood about the sermon, and so I really just tried to get through my outline and get done because I was embarrassed for myself, I guess. Um, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. Matter of fact, after the service, I told Brittany just to take down the video of the service because I bombed. Um, I deleted the audio. I was I was pretty disgusted with myself, and so and my church was very gracious and very uh, compassionate about the whole thing. Um, but I I stunk and I didn't do a good job, and so I went I went home and moped, and then we went over to some friend's house Sunday night. We had fun doing a game night over there, and then yesterday, uh, yesterday I was still kind of moping about it, and we needed to do laundry. The clothes had been piling up. I hadn't done laundry in a little bit, and so Brittany said, "All right, here's two baskets. They both have dirty clothes in them, but this one basket, it was the black basket." She said, "This black basket needs to be washed today. You can wait on this other green basket, but the black basket needs to be done today." So I said, "Okay." So um, I sat around the house, did some stuff around the house, and then I got the wrong basket. I got the green basket, and I took it next door to my grandma's house. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm being a good husband. I'm doing laundry. I washed the wrong basket of clothes. So, and it was late, and by the time I got done doing that, it was late in the day. Not only that, but my grandparents' sink had a leak in it, and so my grandpa was trying to fix that, and my 80-year-old grandfather had to crawl under the house uh, to fix some of the pipes that were busted. So he has to go under the house to fix the pipe. Now, I am not a small man, so but I had to get down under there with him because if his legs started cramping up or something went wrong, I would have to drag him out of there. But the problem is, we get under the house, he starts fixing the pipe. Now, thank God, nothing happened. He's all right, uh, and we got the job done. But he goes under the house, and there's this little hole that he's dug out in under one of the beams under the house that's just big enough for him to slide under there to get to the area where the bathroom is. So he slides under there, and when I get to it, I realize I am a hefty man. I don't care how big he's dug this hole. I cannot get under there and even get access to him, much less the pipes. So the whole time he's under there, messing with the pipes and stuff, I'm back there praying, God, please let him get this done and let no one get hurt, because I can't reach him if something happens. So thank God he got the pipes fixed from under the floor, and he was able to crawl back out from under there with no problems. We both went in the house, and we were both filthy and dirty. And then he went and fixed what he needed to fix in the bathroom, and it was all good. So it was awful. But I did not have a good day. I didn't have a good day Sunday or yesterday, and today I got to wash that black basket of clothes. So I'm Clayton Homewood, who made an appearance earlier. He wants to know, what can Lewis add as far as theology in the local church? That's a good question. I might have to think on that a little bit, because I think there's a lot that Lewis can add. So it's not that I have to think about that part. But I think I could be here all day talking about what Lewis could add as far as theology in the local church. First of all, I think Lewis could add a passionate appeal for apologetics. I think that's one of the places where the local church is failing, is in training its people to actually engage in apologetics and understand why they believe what they believe. Lewis's logic is spot on when it comes to apologetics, and he didn't appear to be much of a presuppositionalist. He seemed to be more of a classical apologist. He seemed to be more of a classical apologist, if you wanted to pigeonhole him in that category. But I think he can really add a passion for apologetics in the local church. I also think he can add a sense of wonder to the local church. And here's what I mean by a sense of wonder. What I mean by a sense of wonder is that we tend to be, the local Protestant Southern church tends to be pretty skeptical of anything that has to do with fantasy, or, like things like Harry Potter, things like Dungeons and Dragons. We tend to be pretty skeptical of anything that has to do with fantasy or storytelling. Well, Lewis does that in such a way that he tells the gospel through the story of the Chronicles of Narnia. And I think if we really were to study Lewis, and I think if we were to really read the Chronicles of Narnia and understand all the metaphors, we would understand that that there's nothing wrong with this stuff. It's what you make of it. One of the talks that really helped me and really made me feel like I wasn't alone in my nerddom, so to speak, was a talk called "He Gave Us Stories" by Andrew Peterson. Now, Andrew Peterson, you may know him as a musical artist, a Christian musical artist, but he did give a talk one time at one of the Ligonier conferences. So he made a remark about how R.C. Sproul was sitting on the front row while he was saying all this stuff. But Andrew Peterson was talking about how God gave us stories, and so it makes sense that we are a storytelling people. It makes sense that we want to tell stories through things like music and role play, and things like that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide a link to that talk. It's on YouTube. It's called "He Gave Us Stories" by Andrew Peterson. And you can look at that. Let's see. What else could Lewis provide? What else could Lewis add to the local church in terms of theology? really just an idea of really just an intellectual passion, not just apologetics, not just a passion for apologetics, but a passion for uh, uh, the intellectual side of Christianity. I think that's another thing we're missing. It's as far as backwoods country Protestantism goes, we tend to value people who we tend to value people who just kind of get up at the pulpit and say, "Well, it's just me and my Bible," right? Um, we're almost anti-intellectual, and Lewis won't let us get away with that. And you don't have to have more degrees than Fahrenheit to understand the things of God, of course. Um, but it helps to be educated. It helps to read people who know more than you do. It helps to ask questions of people who know more than who know more than you do. And and I think we would benefit a lot from reading Lewis, and I think he could add a lot to the local church. Um, One of the things I've always wanted to do, and I don't know if I'll be able to do this um, at my church or not, simply because we've got Sunday school on Sunday mornings, and we've got the Tuesday night Bible study. Um, and just the way our Sunday school is structured, we don't have very many people show up anyway, so we just have a men's class and a women's class. But I've always wanted to have either a Sunday school class or a midweek class where I teach Christian literature to lay people in the church, because I think there's so much that we miss out on simply because we just don't know it's available to us. And uh, I think a Christian literature class would be of a great help to people. One of the things, another, not just Christian literature, but Christian history too. One of the things that I distinctly do not see in many churches within the context of discipleship, is church history. We're not teaching our people church history, and I don't know why we're not teaching our people church history. We're just not. Um, Now, some of y'all are probably going to get mad at me about this for this, but I quite frankly don't care. It seems like the Roman Catholics are doing a better job discipling converts into Catholicism than we are, because they're actually teaching their people church history. They're teaching their people what happened between the closing of the canon and today, and we're not doing that. It's like all of a sudden for the church, history just stopped after Acts 28, and it didn't pick back up until our little sect came along. Um, whenever it was, depending on which sect it was. For me, growing up Pentecostal, it was almost like there was no church history to be learned between um, between Acts 28 and 1906, when the Azusa Street revival happened. So I I think we need to teach our people church history. I think we need to teach our people what kind of legacy we have as God's people, because I think we're failing in that regard. Because what's happening is that if we do get new people, it's like, well, if we do get new people, we bring them into the church and say, all right, well, here's a Sunday school quarterly. Show up every Sunday morning for Sunday school, learn the Bible with us. And we're not really getting people engaged beyond that. Um, so I I don't know. I think that's a failure on our part. We need to do something. We need to do something better, because we can't just expect people to just come in and do the same thing we've been doing for 20, 30 years. We've got to have ministries in place to get people active. Uh, we've got to do something beyond just show up on Sunday mornings and wait to die. And I feel like that's by and large what a lot of Protestant local churches are doing. Um, so yeah, I think we can improve in the area of discipleship. I think we can teach our people Christian literature and Christian history, and show them that the world of Christianity is bigger than just the 20 people that show up on Sunday morning and sing out of the Heavenly Highway hymnal. So um, that's kind of how I feel on the matter. Do we have any other questions? every Tuesday after Bible study, when it gets close to about time to wrap things up, I always ask my people, are there any questions, comments, or snide remarks? And I get that from Chris Fleming, who's the general editor of the Encounter. He uh, he used to end our broadcast. He used to end our broadcast, and we would do Encounter videos with any questions, comments, or snide remarks. I've got a friend. Um, his name is Boltoff. Well, his name on Facebook is Boltoff Oz. I don't know if that's really his name or not. But he's Joshua Sayer, Snyder remarked in Convert to Rome. No, just simply no. I am not going to be swimming the Tiber, sir. Good day to you. So there's this guy's named Boltoff Oz, and he does live streams like every night, I think. Um, and I was I was tuned in, and I hardly ever tune in to watch his live stream, but I tuned into it one night, and as I was watching him, I noticed he just kind of sat there and he would take questions from people and engage with the comments and things. And he wasn't worried about sitting there in silence. He wasn't worried about dead air. He would just sit there and wait for a question to come along, and then he would give his 2 cents and move on. And if he had to step away, and his equipment was set up, it's really funny. Like for a Roman Catholic priest, like he is for a Roman Catholic, I think he's either a priest or a monk, something of that nature. Um, for a Roman Catholic monk, he sure does love Protestant Southern gospel. So I noticed that if he had to get up and step away from the camera for a few minutes, he would play Gaither Southern gospel music over the speakers. So it wasn't just dead air while he was gone. But he, I was watching his live stream one night, and I was really inspired by the way that he was just sitting there taking questions and engaging with people. And I kind of wanted to do something like that. And of course, I needed some kind of streaming service like StreamYard anyway, so that I could broadcast to multiple platforms at the same time. So I got StreamYard, and I'm going to do it for Q. I'm going to use this for Q&A throughout the week. I'm also going to use it for my podcast, the Monday Morning Megaphone. And so I'm looking forward to the different ways that I can get my money's worth out of this, because I'm not paying $25 a month for anything else except for my TV service. But that's because I use Philo for TV, and you get like 60 channels for $25 a month. For someone like me who likes to watch TV but doesn't like to just watch it all the time, that's great. Uh, all right. So, is there anybody else who would like to ask a question, leave a comment? Because I think if I don't get any more questions or comments, I'm going to log off of here and go do laundry. I'm going to wash the correct basket this time. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I got up to 5 viewers on this. Hopefully, we'll have more next time. Um, so, thank you guys for tuning in, watching, putting your 2 cents in. See you guys next time.